Welcome back to Coastal Compass, allegedly a podcast. Tonight, we're speaking with Bellator's very own Debbi Clarke, right after this.
We're starting. This is it. So Debbi Clarke she is hardcore local, multiple generations from Fairhope, but hasn't lived here her whole life. You left Fairhope.
I did.
Went to
Tuscaloosa.
All right. Tell us, what'd you do up in Tuscaloosa? Why would you leave here?
Why would you go to Tuscaloosa?
Oh, no kidding.
Well, when you've got to understand, Fairhope, when we grew up, we were called No Hope Fairhope.
All right.
To the point that if you met a guy from across the bay and they found out you lived in Fairhope, 90% chance he wasn't calling back.
Okay.
It's funny though, all those guys now live in Fairhope.
I've never heard that before. That's wild.
Those
Levi's
guys,
from Bay Minette, so
Yeah, well, I was born here, so
okay. Thomas Hospital, right?
No, like literally, my parents lived here.
I mean, you were born like in what? The Bellator
I was born
office?
in Mobile.
And I want to think back in the day, Thomas Hospital didn't really birth babies. I think
Not
you
a lot.
went to
Nursing
Mobile.
home. It was a nursing home. The original pharmacy director for Thomas Hospital was just an independent pharmacist here in town, and he had the contract for the nursing home. And as they got bigger and bigger and bigger, that became his whole business, and he sold his business to Ben Barnhill, Fairhope Pharmacy, and he moved in and became Thomas Hospital's first pharmacist.
Wow.
Okay, so you're in...
So I'm the only one of my siblings. I'm the youngest, and I'm the only one that did not finish school at Fairhope High School.
There's a story on that.
I was a daddy's baby. I went where my daddy told me to go. My daddy was in Tuscaloosa, so I went to Tuscaloosa with him. I got the title of failing to conform, and we're going to leave it at that.
By who? The family or other people that may have gone down on your permanent
I
record?
think it started out with Sister Bernadette.
Okay.
Sister Bernadette threw that one at me. I failed to conform.
Sister Bernadette, what
Sister
a great
Bernadette.
name!
It is,
Yes,
yeah.
I love it.
Who told me I had, at the time, all the signs of the devil.
Oh,
I was redheaded,
Yep.
left-handed, and I
Oh,
wore
left-handed
mascara.
was evil. Yeah.
Okay.
Redheaded, wearing mascara, left-handed. You're the sign of the devil.
well, I
I
have two of the
recently
three.
just found out that the left-handed thing was a big thing in Christian schools.
It was huge.
Yeah,
It was huge.
Like they would make you right-handed.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
would
They made-
force
even
you
when
to
if it
write
was
right-handed.
ineligible or
Right. No, they
Electric
made me. They tried to make me write right-handed.
no way.
Yeah, they
Well,
That's
it was a
crazy.
thing, and I do right-handed, and I do everything else left-handed.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
did. I write left-handed, do everything else right-handed.
Man, they just totally messed y'all.
No, we are
up.
the devil. So
yeah, y'all are
evil.
the devil.
There
Y'all
you
be
go.
careful.
All right. So you got yanked out of Fairhope High School.
So I got yanked out of Fairhope altogether.
Okay. Yeah, all together.
All together.
Because there's a story about you getting yanked out of Alabama, too.
Well, I mean, there is
But that had to do with Tide and...
a 12-pound box of Tide in the fountain in front of Rose Administration. Fun fact, you would think you put a little Tide in a small... Well, the fountain wasn't that big. It's going to make some suds, maybe cover up the parking lot, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, 12 pounds of Tide under the force of that particular fountain will cover the entire quad. And in that particular year, there weren't a whole lot of cameras on campus, but there was one at Gorgas Library that could catch my face above the suds
Now,
because I was on the shoulder of the quarterback.
what
And
year was this?
we're going to say,
We still haven't thrown the quarterback under the bus
no,
yet,
we're not
have
going to
we?
throw the quarterback
No,
on the
okay.
Fine.
bus.
I'm not worried about the quarterback. But
Late 80s.
okay.
Nobody else could be seen for the depth of the suds. Except
So
for
y'all
me.
just stood there and watched it just suds up, lapping your butts off, thinking this is great.
We were running.
Oh, were you? It was. The suds were growing that much that quickly.
They did. Very quickly. to our surprise. None of us were chemistry majors. Yeah. We were completely in shock.
There you go.
But, you know, we were also, it was Tennessee Hate Week.
Oh, yep.
The choice was disclose my cohorts or walk away.
Wow.
And I did.
They would never give you that kind of punishment now.
No. Oh, no.
But we're
Never.
going to find out who this quarterback is off camera, right?
Maybe.
It depends.
Well, it's not like I can get on to anybody. I mean, who do I care?
I know, right?
Alabama
you
doesn't
know-
even know me. I never even applied there.
It became the point of it. You know, at some point down the line, do I need those credits? No. I don't have to have your credits. I'll just move on to what I moved on to, which is how I started into the whole horticulture thing.
Right.
At Alabama, of course, didn't have horticulture. And I started out wanting to be a nurse. And then the first time that you go into educational tower, the scalpel hits the skin, I hit the floor. You know, seriously, this is not my calling. So that was after I left and knew that I wasn't going to finish out my term at Alabama. It's what do I do now? And it's so funny that when I left Baldwin County, my words were I would never be digging my nice nails into the dirt again. And so my daddy had a real good laugh when I changed my major to horticulture. But I spent a couple of semesters at Auburn, a semester at Mississippi State,
War Eagle.
University of Georgia, and LSU.
Well, you were going through the SEC.
I did, but I was picking those particular professors because that's one of my personality quirks is that if I do something, I want to be good at it. I don't want to be mediocre. I want to be top notch. And so I picked out those professors that were the top of their field. You know, turf grasses, Mississippi State. Auburn was Dr. Ponder with Plant ID. University of Georgia was Dr. Michael Durr and Alan Armitage, and they wrote the textbooks for every school. And that's what I wanted to do. Fred Kapp at Bessemer Tech. I mean, these are the people that I wanted to take my classes from, and so that's what I did.
Wow.
And that was my plan, was to be a landscape. I didn't want to be an architect. I wanted to be a landscape designer because I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And it wasn't always structural. It was mostly plant-based. And I did that for quite a few years until I broke my back. And I was one of those designers who didn't just put it on paper and send it out there. I was on the job site. So if something didn't look right, you know, my hot-headed, red-headed self would run through the landscape, snatching things out of the ground, throwing them. You know, did that look like that's where it was supposed to go? And you learn really quickly when you blow out 3 discs that that's not going to work. And so he told me to find a new career. And my new career was real estate. So I became a realtor. And then I would work with a lot of builders. Not only did I sell their houses, but I would design the landscape as well.
Now, while you were in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, you were on a radio show up there, or had your own radio show.
I had a radio show in Birmingham.
Okay. Wind up finally saying, all right, time to come back home. Didn't quite make it home, though. Made it to Gulf Shores.
I did. When I finally decided it was time to come back home, I did not plan on moving here full time. My plan was to buy a second home, a weekend home, a place that I knew I'd retire to at some point. And so after being gone away from family for as long as I was gone, you don't want to come right back into Fairhope so that everyone knocks on your front door on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and says, you got breakfast today.
Well, you had a restaurant, too, for a while.
I've owned a couple of restaurants. Our family comes from a restaurant business, so we're all fairly decent cooks.
Restaurants where at? Here or Tuscaloosa or?
Now, my grandmother had restaurants in New Orleans,
Oh, wow.
and then I had 2 in Birmingham. I had one called Tomato Pie and one called the Houndstooth Cafe.
And by the way, she actually pronounced New Orleans the correct way.
I decided I would buy in Gulf Shores, which gave me, I'm in Baldwin County. I'm close enough to get to Fairhope when I want to be in Fairhope, but I'm far enough away that you're not going to have everybody knocking on your door on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. And as soon as I closed and started moving furniture in, I get a call from my brother who says, hey, just heads up, after all these years of telling you need to come home, I'm moving to Mentone.
So he takes off, takes Mama with her,
Yep.
or with him.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're moving back to Fairhope.
Now I'm moving back to Fairhope.
All right.
So you're still in Gulf Shores now,
I'm still in Gulf Shores now.
but you're about to find something up here.
I am. In fact, I drug Chris with me today looking at 3 properties. So I've just got to find the one I want, and then I'll be back in Fairhope.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice.
Well, welcome home.
When
Thank
you
you.
when you and Jay go out on, y'all don't go out in Gulf Shores to go out to eat and stuff like that. Y'all come up here.
It's very rare that we eat in Gulf Shores.
Okay. What do you like up here?
So there's quite a few things. Now, we do hit Jesse's in Magnolia Springs.
Right.
But I love going to Felix's on the Causeway.
Okay.
I love going to Mobile to Noja. Noja's one of my
yeah,
favorites.
No kidding. Noja's kind of up and around.
So it's about a block and a half, I think, from the same.
Okay. Yeah.
Still, anything Pete does, I love eating at sunset. So
Okay.
you put me over here, and of course, you know, I have found a new favorite drink at Fly Bar. So that's
And that is Dragon's Eye?
Dragon's Eye.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
the Dragon's Eye.
Which was made by accident. Hilarious.
But
Still
it's
good.
so
yes.
good.
And you can see and have that recipe on our Coastal Compass podcast.
Sure can.
It's
It is so
Raising the
good.
Bar episode with Amy. So
Yeah, that was one of the first ones we did.
right here.
Yeah, she did it right over there.
Yeah,
in the,
right here.
Absolutely.
What's a good
So
one? It's a
showed
good
us
one.
step by step on how to make that one.
So yes, I do. When we go out, I do drag my husband to Fairhope.
So if you are in Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and you're going to go out there, is there a restaurant you usually hit up?
I do like Jesse's on the Bay, which is the new one.
Yep, down by how far down
Fort
is
Morgan.
Is
It's
that-
about halfway down the peninsula.
that? Okay.
It's
Now, has
about
the new
halfway
tin
down.
top opened up yet, or are they
The
still
new
in
tin
old
top
place?
is not opened yet, but
Okay.
it's not far from it. I do like tin top.
Well, now, where's the new tin top at?
It's going to be behind where the old one was. Right
So
on
when
the
you get to
water.
the 4-way stop where tin top is right there,
Yeah.
you just turn left in front of tin top and go to the end of the street. It's right
Okay.
there.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know. I didn't
It's
even
on
know
the
that was
water.
even
It's a
thing.
beautiful
Oh, yeah.
building.
Yeah,
It's going to be a
it's-
great
it's
place.
One
like-
that somebody hasn't driven through.
It's like double the size, right? I mean, it's
Oh,
like,
I think it's probably more than that.
is it?
It's big.
huge. Okay.
Now, did you ever eat at Fisher's? You know they just shut down.
Fishers and Playa, both
Yep.
of them gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Has Deborah talked to the server that y'all made friends with?
No, she has not, and we need to do that to reach out to her to see how she's doing. But yeah, that was sad news for
Oh,
us.
dude.
But you were saying tin top. Jesse's.
Luna's is really good.
Okay.
Luna's is not probably as hit as hard with tourists, you know, as the other restaurants are. Luna's has got some really good. Part Cajun. Grew up here in Fairhope. I love any kind of seafood, but I'm not a fish girl. If it's not red snapper, I'm probably not going to eat it. But Luna's has a really great grouper with an artichoke sauce.
Ooh,
Oh,
that sounds
cool.
amazing.
I love. Oh my gosh.
Now, have you been to the Pearl?
No.
You got to try the Pearl. If it's,
haven't tried
if it's
it yet.
only for the drinks and the dessert, that's incredible. But
I love that
Their
place.
food's awesome. Yeah,
It is.
All right,
Oh,
Debbie.
my
So we
God.
brought you on about landscaping and real estate. Tell us some of the stuff that people should do to help sell their house with the landscaping part of it.
The curb appeal.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, we looked at a property today. You can have the best property on the street as far as what's inside the house, the style of the house, the decor of the house, what the house has amenity-wise. But if you pull up to that house and you don't have curb appeal, you're going to lose a huge part of your buyer pool. I have been an agent now, just celebrated my 25th year. And I can't tell you the number of times that we've pulled up in front of a property that ticked every single box that a buyer wanted. But they look at the landscape and they immediately say, there's no need to even go in.
Yeah.
So it's like you never can make a second first impression, right?
Right.
Your first impression's it.
Right. And it can be the smallest thing to turn that whole thing around. And so what I have always done when I'm listing a property, and when I go, even if I don't list it, if I go to talk to someone about listing a property, I will talk to them about, yes, their house is what holds the value, but you've got a buyer pool. And there's so many things that can drop that buyer pool. You don't want it to be the first impression of your house. If your backyard looks horrible, people can figure out when they walk, well, we can do this and we can do that. But you've got to capture them when they pull up to the house. And it could make $10,000 difference in what they offer. It can make $50,000 difference in what they offer. When I first started doing landscape design, I was working in the Greystone area of Birmingham, which is down 280. It was the up-and-coming, upper-end homes. And I learned really quick then, and I think that's what I fell back on when I started being an agent, was that those people would buy at that time, $500,000 house, which was huge, which is, a couple $1 million house today.
Right.
But they would put $50,000 in their landscape, but when you opened the front door, they didn't have furniture in the living room. But it's all about that curb appeal. But they also knew their furniture didn't sell the house, but that landscape did.
I've gone in some houses here lately. Well, I've got a couple from Montgomery. And after taking them to a couple of houses, if the front yard, if the grass just looks absolutely horrible, he's not going to look at it. He will not get, you won't even get out of the car. He can drive up and look and go, no, I'm not going to like this house.
Now, is this a guy that cuts his own grass kind of deal, or is this like just a pride thing?
This is just, he can't understand if he's going to spend $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 for a house, the yard needs to look like it's $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Am I a landscape snob? 100% I am. Is it because I have a lot of landscape training? Maybe, but I think a lot of it goes back to my grandmother. I think my love for horticulture comes from her, because it didn't matter what time of year it was. When you walked up to her front door, something was blooming somewhere, and something was fragrant somewhere, and it looked like home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you go to the French Quarter and you hang out in the Garden District, and you can, these homes have been there 100 plus years, and there is always something blooming
Always.
down there.
Always.
We're on the same.
Absolutely. We're in a climate that you can do that all the time. There should never be a point where there's not something interesting in the landscape, but something that's the wrapping paper for that home.
1st of November right now. What are you thinking about if you're looking at somebody's thinking, all right, what do I need to be doing right now? What are you telling us?
The biggest thing right now is cleanup, making things crisp, edging things. We had a rough summer. I mean, we
No
had
rain
a
for months.
drought. We had the heat after not a great winter. So a lot of our plant material just looks like it's stressed. It looks sad right now. Needs to be a lot of cleanup. Pull off the dead, clean up the edges of everything, mulching the beds, making them look neat and dressed goes a long way. In the fall, people are looking for that. They want that crisp fall look.
And making sure the leaves are up.
Making sure the leaves are up. Come on, blow those leaves off. If you've got pine trees, which we know there's a ton of here in Fairhope, use the pine straw to your advantage. Rake them up around your trees. Make everything look crisp and neat and clean.
So when you drove by the house, you're looking at me going, get your butt out there.
I said, Chris needs to get on his roof.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you for watching Coastal Compass, allegedly a podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button for us. That really helps us out, and we appreciate your time. If you'd like to be a guest on here, just look down in the description and get in contact with Chris or myself. Our information is down there. Again, thank you so much. Like and subscribe.